Hello, you hardcores. We're joined by Ellis. How are you doing, Ellis?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yourself? You all good?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Let's get stuck straight in. Usyk de Bar, who have you got and how do you see it going?
I've got you sick, and I think it'll be a points landslide this time, mate. I don't think Dubois going to go in with his blocking punches with his face as much. I think he's going to be for all this chaos that he's talking about. I think he's going to be a bit smarter on his defense, and I think they'll have worked on that. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't rule out a late stoppage, but I think the smart money's probably on a landslide victory for Usyk, mate.
Yeah. Uh, well, what can he do any different from first fight? Because I didn't give him a round.
Yeah, no, like I watched the first fight a couple of weeks back, and I'm pretty much in agreement with that, mate. I don't think he won a round really. Obviously, he had the controversial round of the low blow saga, but it was thoroughly getting outboxed. If you broke down the round into minutes, I don't think he won a minute of any round, did he really? And he didn't capitalize on that low blow either. He didn't jump all over him and capitalize. So yeah, everything's pointing towards the same happening again. But it's just the only sort of asterisk is obviously Usyk's had them two fights with Fury. They were both 12 rounders, weren't they? And he is getting older, so he might have lost half a step. But even if he lost 3 steps, I still think he'd have more than enough to deal with someone like Dubois, who's big, stiff, muscle bound. He's just handmade for that herky jerky, feinting constantly and picking apart kind of style. So I think it's heavily in Usyk's favour, mate. Put it that way.
What I have a problem with is when I turn Talk Sport Boxing on and I listen to the same old people going into bat for their friends. He's my friend. And it seems to be Juggies Oliver and the Gad going into bat for anything to do with Finchley because Juggies works there now. I do know that when Dennis Hobson, my former boss, Big Ron, was on Talksport last year, he put a show on America versus England. It was Roy Jones, the captain of one team, Juggies Oliver, the captain of the other. And he basically came out and said they should be training Anthony Joshua because Joshua were looking at getting new trainers, or the rumor was he was going to get rid of Ben Davidson. Now, that's what we've got, people going into bat for the mates. Now, Dennis used to go mad when he used to go on certain shows with certain boxers. He always used to go mad about uh, everybody being comfy and going into bat for the mates. But that's what that is. Now, we've got Juggies here saying Dubois, we need to forget about 2 years ago because Dubois, aka John Coffey, is the Terminator. But who's he beaten the last 2 years? Miller, Ergovic, and Joshua. It's poor, but they're going to go into bat for him because they have to bump into these people on a regular basis. Frank Warren, Bricktop, John Coffey, Don Charles, he's ex Finchley, and it was the same when Joshua fought Usyk. And they never ever speak the truth. And these people know boxing. They know boxing, but they just won't give Usyk his flowers. Even if he beats Dubois, there'll be somebody else, and they'll be saying he's too old. What do you think about him going into bat for this guy, this John Coffey?
Yeah. Again, there is a lot of people, having an allegiance to certain gyms or certain circles and stuff like that. And they will go into bat for them. And the thing what I hate about is the narrative of brushing things under the carpet as if they never happened, dependent on which fighter we're talking about. And um, with Dubois, something that's very rarely touched upon is the quitting. It never really gets questioned by any serious journalist about, um, obviously the Joyce fight, which was earlier in his career, but more recently and more pertinently, because we're talking about a Usyk rematch. Let's just rewind. Well, let's talk about the first fight. What was it like in that round when you got stopped?
Yeah, you
Talk me
quit.
through. Yeah, talk me through the sequence of events. Obviously, he comes forward, he catches you with this jab, and then you go down. And what's going through your mind? There's none of that, is there? Um, I watched last night
Barker, the face-off with Barker, 7 minutes. He
I
shut him
didn't
down,
really
didn't he? John Cocker
yeah
shut him down when he asked him a tricky question.
yeah I didn't really think he had the character to be the guy in the middle, Barker. But in fairness, he did pull out that question and he asked him about the job, but he got shut down and Parker zipped it, didn't he? But yeah, it's just really odd. It's in a fight that was so one-sided the first time round and ended the way that it did. It seems to be like we should all forget about it and get behind him, and he's all of a sudden he's going to cause chaos and cause destruction on Saturday night. But I don't see it. All logic is pointing to that not happening. But we'll have to. It remains to be seen, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's like I said, it's typical of this shower of shit going into bat for the mates. He's from Finchley and I'm from Finchley. Uh,
Yeah,
if it's not Derek Chisora they're going into bat for, it's anybody else connected to it. Now, when we've got jug ears saying Joe Joyce needs to turn it in, blah, 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 he was saying that 2 years ago about Joyce. But he never seems to say it about Derek with 13 losses and he can't even string a sentence together without acting stupid. Do you know what I mean? So what's good for Goose has got to be good for the old gander.
yeah, yeah. Again, yeah. It's. I think you've touched on it a few times with people having allegiance to their own kind of thing. It's like when Scouse commentators will back the Scouse fighter and Finchley affiliates will back the Finchley fighter and stuff like that. It's just for me, boxing. It's a much better discussion when people are impartial. Like naturally, I'm going to like certain fighters over others. It might be because I like the style, or
Yeah.
it might be a certain punch that they do and they throw a really good left hook, and I like it about them. But if they get beat by someone who I'm not a massive fan of, I'll still be impartial and say, look, he got beat by the better man and he's getting his head boxed off. If that's what I'm seeing with my own eyes, that's what I'll commentate. You know what I mean? But that doesn't seem to be the case in high profile boxing, does it? Really?
Now, looking at other news, I'm just flicking through this morning. We've got Elmer Fudd. He's everywhere. Elmer Fudd is this go-to expert guy. Sunsport, YouTube. He's on all other platforms, and he's on Talk Sport. I mean, this is a 12-1 novice whose best wins Babic, right? An area level guy on a good day. And he's like this go-to guy, and all he says is, I've sparred Daniel Dubois, and his jab's like a right hand. Well, you shouldn't be bragging about that if you're getting clipped by that all the time. And he's very strong in the clinches. Well, we don't care. And he's my friend, and we had lunch. I don't want to see that. Like, I don't want to see you cozying up to White Rhino. I want to see you going to White Rhino's gym and saying, listen, I want that third fight that we've got in contract. I don't want to see you noshing him off. Uh, why is Elmer Fudd the go-to guy now for expert advice? I mean, he says on the Sunsport expert analysis from Johnny Fisher, and I think it's just embarrassing. I just wonder what you thought.
Yeah, he's taken a bit of a weird approach, isn't he, Johnny Bosch? He's obviously he's limited and he's a relative novice, and he's obviously a big lump, and he fits the part as a heavyweight, and he's got that following down in where he's from, Essex, and all that stuff. But I think with him, his whole model is he's marketable. He's got the TikTok following and all that stuff, and that his dad does. But he's trying to stay mates with everyone to stay in the mix, and he has to do that. And I think he has to go along with they're my friends, because he doesn't see them as actual viable options as opponents because he's not of that level, is he really? I mean, I don't think he can start aiming higher than Dave Allen. Dave Allen was his ceiling so far. So him bigging up people like Daniel Dubois, it's going along to get along, isn't it? Like you say, he's trying to be everybody's friend, and yeah, good luck to him. But he's as a heavyweight boxer, I don't see him as much of a contender, but. Uh, yeah, if I was him, I'd just focus on knuckling down, staying out of the limelight, and and getting your training done and learning the fundamentals of boxing. Because that last performance, it's like he was caught between styles, weren't he? And he was eating heavy shots for fun, which ain't gonna bode well in that division.
No, no, it's just arse licking for say so. Arse licking, it bothers me.
Hmm.
All right then. Paul Smith, aka Smiggers Titties, or Smithy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Smiths, the Beatles of boxing, yet again on Talksport. He's now talking about mind games. He knows a little thing about mind games, he was saying. Look, do you think Usyk's seriously bothered about mind games with John Coffey?
If there was anyone who'd be bothered about mind games with, it's not going to be Daniel Dubois, is it? He's like I watched that thing last night. It's like he just got fed the same words on repeat. He just said, "I'm causing chaos. I'm resurrected. I'm causing chaos, and I don't want to talk about the past." Um, but
Don't
no,
go there, he said, didn't he? Don't go there about
yeah,
the
don't go
because he
there.
knows Usyk sat in front of him and he's going to go, that were a low blow and you know it. It wasn't in the notes, but it was below where's legal. So he's going to take the 3 minutes. What, 3 minutes, 30 seconds he took, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm of the belief that, like you say, if it wasn't given as a low blow, I think Usyk would have been up and he would have carried on, and it wouldn't have affected the outcome of the fight. And I know that controversy sells, and that's the big talking point of that first fight. But really, the only thing that should be getting talked about is why did you go down off a jab and why did you quit? Because that was a conclusive outcome, weren't it? So, but yeah, it's got him the rematch on it. So yeah.
One thing I did learn when I worked with Big Ron, when the shows used to be on, is he always used to say, right, if this is tight or we need to look for some controversy and we want to play it again, we'll cause loads of bollocks behind the scenes. And that's what they look for. So whenever there's a fight, right, and it's a draw or a split decision or a mandatory decision, they always look for a rematch now. But what I noticed about Shiraz and Damas, they fluked to draw, but they didn't want to rematch him, did they? Normally they'd be squealing like pigs for a rematch. So what's good for Goose, yet again, is good for the gander. Do you agree?
Yeah, yeah, I do agree. Yeah, it's all what suits the narrative, isn't it? I mean, that Shiraz one's a good example. He was he went in with a relatively unknown to the masses fighter, didn't he? But the Adamez, he was a high quality operator, weren't he? He had really good head movement, and he was winning the rounds for me. He was putting his hands together, and he was, yeah, a lot were hitting gloves, but he was definitely the aggressor and the one that was actually letting his hands go. And they got that one wrong, didn't they? Yes, the sorted out the draw, and it weren't really a draw, was it? And they navigate the gooses well, don't they? And they've gone right. That style was problematic for Hamza. Let's skirt over here and change the training team. It's always something that they always fall back on after a defeat, isn't it? Let's change the trainer, and here we are at super middleweight with him now. So yeah,
Okay. Even Beans bought into the John Coffey hype at the moment. And when they're saying Usyk on Talksport, when they're saying Usyk's a freak and that, but Daniel Dubois got the equaliser. Most heavyweights have got the equaliser, but what if you can't land it?
well, even at cruiserweights can bang, can't they? If you get caught by a cruiserweight, you're going out. So he's always had opponents in front of him that can render you unconscious, as people like to keep saying. That Gassy who he fought in the final for cruiserweight, he were a big puncher, weren't he? And everyone at heavyweight who he's fought has tried to knock him out, but not not had any success. And it's like the bull and the matador, isn't it? And
Yeah.
you can be the biggest one punch. You could be Ernie Shavers, but if you can't land that knockout punch, and he's landing 20 punches that are not okay, it might be not be super concussive, but 20 punches half of the concussiveness of Dubois. You see what happens. They
Yeah.
have enough. They throw. It's no mass in it. They want to throw the towel in. So it's boxing, isn't it? It's not who can punch the hardest.
No, the Tyson Fury once said to me, it's like being a fighter jet. You get in, you do your work, and you get out.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I watched Anthony Joshua twice against Usyk. I watched Fury twice against him yesterday, and I watched Daniel Dubois. And what I noticed, Usyk is very, very predictable, very predictable. And I wonder if any trait of Don Charles, Daddy Don, has picked up on it instead of going on about the low blow all the time and being bitter. I wonder if he's picked up on the fact that Usyk doesn't let them set the feet. He's always fainting, and there always seem to be flinching and off balance. And then he does his work, and then he's in a different position. He goes round in like a circle, and he shows them all different styles, two or three, sometimes four times in a round. And I just don't think that our guys have got an answer for somebody that has got a lot in his locker. Like you just said, it's not about being the biggest puncher or the strongest guy. But this guy here, Usyk, not only is he a southpaw and well schooled and a hard trainer, he's fighting men between 3 inch to 6 inch taller, 3 inch to 10 inch longer each arms, and 2 to 4 stone heavier. And he's dealing with these guys. So do you think that our heavyweights are just too heavy and that they need to lose a bit of weight so they've got a bit more flexibility? What is the proper weight to be a heavyweight, do you think? 'Cause he's 16 stone, or 6'3", like Ali, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could put a number on a weight, but it's what suits your frame, isn't it? And it's having a style that suits your frame. And I think in Britain, in British boxing gyms, we're taught from the ground up a similar style of through the amateur system. And obviously, there's different styles. Cubans have different styles. Ukrainians, these Uzbekis, they have these more Eastern European styles, don't they?
Yeah,
And I just think that Eastern European style that he's been taught from day dot is ingrained in him, and it just trumps our style. It just trumps it for whatever reason. The herky jerky movement, the ins and outs, the feints. Whereas our guys, the more traditional heavyweights, if you will, not I wouldn't say, they're not necessarily plodders. AJ's not an absolute plodder, is he? But muscle bound, and everything's based off overwhelming their opponent with power punches, isn't it? But start throwing some head movement and feints and different looks, and it just bamboozles opponents. I keep saying it. It's we're witnessing something we've never seen before. And it's really something to watch as a purist. Yeah, it's that style. I think that it's not the weights or anything like that. I just think that style trumps the British style, and that's the reason why he's running away with them titles, mate.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. What do you think to Bricktop's comments leading up to your fight? Do you think they're spending too much time going about the low blow that wasn't, and the last three fights that Daniel's had, and he's the Terminator, and he's got the equalizer? Because I'm always of the firm belief that when so-called experts in the media say, well, he's only got to hit him once, I always think back the other guy when they say that. It's a bit like whenever Dave Allen were going up against Ortiz or Tony Yoka and Dylan White, they were saying, look, it's heavyweight boxing, he's only got to clip him, and he's capable, he's durable. Do you know what I mean, Ellis? What do you think
Yeah,
about Big Top's comments?
he's selling it, isn't he? He's selling it, and there's so many cliches in boxing. Last thing you lose is your punch, and it's heavyweight boxing, and all it takes is one punch, etc. Um, but yeah, I think like you say, it's all just clinging on to anything that they can. And I'm not a betting man, but anyway, anyone who's betting out there and saying these things, I say, show me a betting slip. Then, if that's what you think, show me a betting slip, because there's no reason. Just use your eyes. Look back at old footage. You don't even have to go that far back. Look at the Fury fights. Look at the actual Daniel Dubois fight that he actually had against this same opponent, and tell me what you're seeing that's making you say, "I think he's going to knock Usyk out." I just do not see it whatsoever. And all logic, like you say, barring a freak accident, he dislocates his shoulder or something like that, which could happen. All things point towards a Usyk win for me, but I don't know. They have a way of spinning it, don't they? These promoters, and people buy into it, so it obviously works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Usyk, according to Wikipedia, has last been beat World Championships 2009 bronze medalist. Let me see if I can get the guy's name up. Let's have a look. Oh, it take forever, that medal table. It's not going to tell. It doesn't tell me. But his last beat in 2009, and then he returned in 2011 and won the gold, and then 2012 the gold, the European Championship gold. light heavyweight gold 2008 Stanzar Cup. He got a middleweight bronze in '06 and 2009 World Championship bronze. So he's not been beat for 16 years by the looks of it.
Yeah, incredible, isn't it? It's
Won the world boxing series as well, didn't he? He went for 6 fights, 6 wins. Done Joyce, didn't he, as well?
yeah, yeah.
Majidov, done him. Junior Farr, done him. So technically, the guy is super human. Look at this here: 350 fights, amateur, 15 losses, rematch 11. So he's up against it, Dubois. We all agree on that, but I understand they've got to sell the fight, but beating Miller, Ergovic, and a shot Joshua, coming off losing every round and quitting. Nobody's mentioning to him about, look, you quit. You were down twice and you quit, you turn your back and all that. Nobody's mentioning it. And it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, really. It's like they don't want to give him his respects. And he's on road again, isn't he? On the road. I thought Glenn Johnson was the road warrior.
No, he's the real road man, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, as well, when you talk about the obviously he demolished AJ, didn't he? But the Miller and Hergovich, let's talk about the fashion of the victories. I mean, what's he called? Hergovich was actually landing the backhand for fun. He was actually, it looked like he was going to stop him. To me personally, I thought he's going to come undone here and he's going to quit. And fair play to him, he stuck at it and he turned the tide, didn't he? But it weren't no overall impressive win. Yes, he got the stoppage, and then the Miller one. Okay, he's super durable, isn't he, Miller? Just he's a big old unit of a man. But I didn't really, Miller was catching him. Miller had his moments. It weren't completely one-sided, was it? Whereas I
10
think if the
rounds
shoot,
as well.
yeah. Whereas I think if Usyk were in with them, it'd be whitewashes, wouldn't it? It'd either be a 12-0 job, or he'd probably stop them opponents. So it's, you can't take heeding too much of them last wins. Obviously, the AJ one's the exception. He smashed him, didn't he? And that was impressive. But it was ages ago now, that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to go on to part 2, Ellis, lad?
Yeah, sure, we'll do, mate.
Right. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Feel free to check out Porky's new sponsor, Human Nutrition, as you can see on the thumbnail. There you go. All right. Pop, pop, bang. Well, I'm not going to turn that one down, were I? Because I've put my time in. All right. Time to have some of the from the root to the fruit now. Go on, booyaka.